former commercial diver and a avid amateur underwater archaeologist. I'm the owner and publisher of AJ's Industries. We produce a line of adventure travel books, Venture Under Sail. We have been diving local shipwreck sites as part of our Vancouver Island project. I recently had the opportunity to revisit the wreck with a diving buddy of mine by the name of Mark Taylor from Terra-Marine Adventures.
You want to go down the anchor chain?
Yeah. You said you got a reference point, right?
Robert Kerr was an old bark built in 1885. It was damaged in a storm, and she ended up being converted into a coal barge. She found her way to Ladysmith Harbor, and she was loaded with approximately 1,200 tons of coal, and she was on her way to Vancouver when she struck a local reef. She foundered and was declared a total loss. The ship has quite a local history, and it's also famous for rescuing dozens, if not hundreds, of civilians from the fire that engulfed the city of Vancouver.
On July 13th of 1886, she achieved her fame on the coast here as the ship that saved Vancouver. We have the fire, and then we can see the curve. We see the stumps that remained to the city of Vancouver. The fire was started by CPR crews burning slash. But as the city burned, and it burned very quickly, people streamed out to the ship, and it's to the best of the story, over 200 people took refuge on the curve and watched the city burn 2 months after it was founded. After the flames died that evening, many people spent subsequent nights on the ship till they could get established again in some way on the mainland. And she then became the home of Captain Sewell and his family for about the next 10 months as they rebuilt their home, which had also been destroyed in the fire.
The wreck is on the north end of Thetis Island, approximately 40 to 60 feet of water. And I had the good fortune of diving that wreck way back in 1985 for the first time when I was working with the Underwater Archaeological Society of British Columbia. We did a photographic survey of the wreck at that time, and it was quite impressive. The wreck has actually deteriorated quite substantially from when I first visited it, but it's still nonetheless an impressive wreck. The overall condition of the wreck is fair. Much of the original superstructure has collapsed, and she's pretty well laid flat out on the bottom. There are some vertical rib sections still remaining. The decks have all corroded away. There are still some significant metal artifacts down there. The ship's capstan is still off the stern. When I first saw that capstan in 1985, part of the mainmast, some of the mast bands, the wreck has been taken over by marine life. Quite impressed with the number of juvenile rockfish and lingcod. There's schools of a variety of perches and such on the wreck. There's sea anemones, both white and orange, and a variety of other invertebrates. Lots of crab have taken over. As far as a dive site is concerned, I would rate it as for a beginner or moderately advanced diving. There aren't particularly unusually strong currents or difficult currents. The location is easily accessible. Depth ranges from 40 to about 70 feet if you want to go right out to the stern section, drop off where the rudder used to be. It's a good intermediate dive. As far as shipwrecks on the BC coast is concerned, it's quite indicative of what we see along here. A great and proud ship, a bark. It's certainly worth visiting. Yeah, we dove it during the summer months, which typically has problems with visibility due to the plankton blooms, but our visibility was surprisingly good. 30 to 40 feet. You can see much of the wreck from any location along its former decks, and the currents are very mild if you dive in and around slack. That's not an issue. It's protected at the north end of the island by a few little islets, and it's impressive scenery on its own on the surface. The rock it struck and sunk the vessel is a small pinnacle, and that in itself is worth exploring. The marine life on that rock is quite prolific, and makes for good photographic opportunities if you're into underwater photography. It has a lot of local history, and the people have strong feelings for the ship because it did play such a big role in rescuing so many people.